Hello, beautiful conscious creators. It is the energy of March that we are looking at today, March 2022. I'm Casey Knight. The frequency name I use is Aurora Light, and I am a ascension doula and coach for visionary creatives who are ready to rebirth themselves into their new level and new layer of evolution. So if this is finding you, you are one of those souls who is here actively supporting their own evolution. It's not an easy game. It's been a wild ride over these last few years. Buckling up and supporting ourselves at the highest level has been necessary, and things have not slowed down. And I'm afraid they will not be slowing down as humanity's ascension and evolution is accelerating, and we are being asked to be responsible for so much processing right now. So March is another wild month. It is bringing us 3 gifts though. So gift number 1 is perspective. Gift number 2 is that of responsibility. Gift number 3 is acceptance. And all of this is basically our ninja training, our badass training that is teaching us how to be more responsible creator beings who have cleared out the energies that aren't serving us so that we can step into the next level of our evolution, our radiance, our capability, and our capacity to create change and be the change that we want to see in the world. And all of this is leading to amazing things for humanity and our embodiment, but we are in it right now. We are in the hardest parts. We're being squeezed, we are being tested, we are being challenged at every level and layer on this journey towards our soul's evolution and the embodiment of more and more of our soul's gifts. There are people who are dancing with this energy and who are using it to fuel them, knowing that it is taking them into this highest and best good, this next expression of their awesomeness. And then other people are being dragged along kicking and screaming, and they are still in that energy of fighting against what is transpiring on the planet. And you can see this push-pull very clearly. But all of these gifts that are coming through in deeper levels and layers in March 2020 are really supporting us into stepping into new levels and layers of emotional maturity. So let's dive into these 3 different gifts. Number 1, perspective. This is really expanding on the skills that we were asked to really tap into in February, where we were being asked to be the visionaries, to practice zooming in to the details, but then also zooming out to the higher perspectives, that of the ego, or even better, that of the highest self that can see the all that it is, and to really practice being able to shift the perspective to the one that is going to support you the most in the moment. We were asking visionaries to step up and into that visionary capacity and take flight in February. And so, as we build upon this energy, this capacity to zoom into the fine details or zoom out, whichever one is going to be most supportive to you in this now, is really going to serve you, and you're going to have the opportunities to practice with world events that are transpiring, that are really shaking up the energy of humanity right now on the collective, seemingly one thing after another. We are being gifted all of these opportunities to tune in, to look, to witness, to be and hold space and observe and see what is going on. And also, we have to at times take steps back and stop witnessing the external world and take time for us, just as we practiced doing back in October as well, where we were like, if you need to take some time for you and focus on you, do that thing. What we're being asked to do is to look and hold space for the world and be there and witness without getting completely drained by it, and move into the perspective of holding you and giving yourself everything you need, and to move back and forth between these as needed, as necessary. The world does require witnesses. What people are living through right now deserves our compassion. And I do believe, and my previous video was about this, that this is an opportunity for people to witness each other as events play out on the world stage, with social media really being available for us to see into people's lives. An opportunity for hearts to crack open and for compassion to be expanded where perhaps before there was just this wall up between hearts. So as we're playing with perspectives, I would encourage you to not only zoom in and zoom out, but also connect with other people and practice that empathy and compassion that comes when we look from their point of view and imagine ourselves in those spaces and places, but doing so from a grounded and stable perspective of understanding who we are and who they are and how we are separate but yet also connected and unified as members of Team Humanity. So the other part of the perspective gift is to really focus on what feels like is for us, what is our passion, what is our purpose, and not get sucked into worrying about everything else and feeling like you have to do everything, because that's not the point. The point is to focus on what we are capable of doing and doing that and receiving support from other people and being part of this team right now, not trying to be flying solo, understanding the connections as well as where we are unique individuals. And that really brings us into the second gift of responsibility. Now, responsibility can feel very, very heavy. So I want to reframe it for you as the ability to respond. So this is taking your power back and connecting in with your self-sovereignty, your divine agency, being able to root into the earth and stand on your own 2 feet and understand again that we are separate beings on our own journeys with our own soul mission and purpose and experience, and yet we are so connected. So defining for you what is yours to carry. What are you able to personally respond to? What can you do without trying to take on the burden of the entire world, of the entire globe? That is not for you to carry. It is for you to hold space for. It is for you to have compassion for, but it is not yours to burden yourself with. So if we overburden ourselves and take on too much responsibility for everything, we are crushed by it. We are paralyzed. And so it is walking this balance, this harmony that we can find between being responsible for our own self and the actions that we can take in our immediate circle, and holding the energies and frequencies that we're here to anchor in and literally be the change or be the blank that we are here to be in the world, right? Not exuding force upon others if we're in a position where we can avoid doing that, if we're not in an active war zone, but choosing what frequency do we want to see in the world and then being that, emanating that in our entire being, practicing holding it and acting from that place, as opposed to trying to do it in the world without being it. That kind of energy doesn't work very well anymore. We're being called into greater integrity. We're being called into greater capacity to walk our walk while we're talking our talk. It doesn't serve us anymore to just talk about it. We have to be what we are saying we want to be and what we want to see in the world. And so there's another part of this responsibility that's saying you can't spiritually bypass anything. It doesn't work. You're going to get slapped in the face by the things that you are ignoring. Okay? it's important to look, to hold, to examine what is there, and to honor people's lived experiences. So I'm speaking very clearly to the ones who, like me, might be able to see the future timelines and know where we're headed and know how beautiful we are going to co-create this planet to be. Even though we can hold that higher vision and know that absolutely everything that's transpiring on this planet is for the highest and best good of all, even though it might not seem like it, we cannot just skip to that part. We cannot do the TikTok transition and skip to the good part and already be there. We are living through these really challenging times, and we have to hold space for ourselves in that and understand that this is a huge experience. This time on earth is massive, and no one is getting out of it without experiencing trauma. It's overwhelming to the nervous system to be alive right here and now. So first, we give grace and we give space to ourselves. That's one of our responsibilities, not allowing ourselves to go into overwhelm or to go into that victim mode, and understand that we have a personal responsibility for supporting ourselves at the deepest level, to reparent ourselves, to clear out the energies, to shift our belief systems, to heal our body, to act in alignment with our own highest and best good, so that we can be the change, right? We cannot expect anything outside of us to change before we take this deep responsibility for our own inner work, not take responsibility for everything that is in the outside world. There is a difference, right? So for the entrepreneurs, the visionaries, the way showers, the leaders, we've been saying for years that we have to step up our self-care. We have to step up our ability to hold space for ourselves. And just because you're already doing it doesn't mean there's not another level of expansion. As you're stepping into more and more leadership and the ability to hold even more and be an even more radiant light, that means you get to take care of yourself at the next level. Being responsible means being in integrity with your word. Being able to say that you're going to do something and do it. And if you are sharing wisdom with other people, make sure it is that wisdom. Make sure it is the embodied wisdom that you have experienced in your own life, that you've digested, that you've contemplated, and that you can live from and be an example of that frequency. Because people who are just sharing from knowledge that they've heard other people say, from books that they've read, from other leaders, if it's being regurgitated, it is no longer in integrity for us to speak from that level. We're being asked to drop into the heart and share our lived wisdom. We also have a responsibility to hold space for other people's lived experiences, which is where that spiritual bypassing is also needed, right? People are living through so much, and we cannot neglect the fact that people are going through a lot right now. And so without carrying the load for them, can you care for them, care about it, be with and hold the frequency of love and compassion without taking on the burden? This is the balance that we are responsible for. Then the third gift of acceptance is really tricky sometimes for people to hear, because they think sometimes that acceptance can mean that we're like, oh, okay, and then we won't do anything to shift and change things. Accepting things does not mean that we are agreeing with them and we're inviting more in. The acceptance that I'm speaking of is the one that relaxes the nervous system because we're not resisting the now. It can mean we don't like what is happening in our lives right now, but we can accept that is where we are at as reality and go, it is what it is, and relax into the openness to see things for what they are, for being what they are. And in that, take our power back, because we're not resisting and fighting and being like, la la la, I don't want to see it, or thinking that things aren't as they are, they're as we wish them to be, or resisting them actively. So when we can come into acceptance of things as they are, we have the power to access our creativity, our logic, our intellect, our reason, because we're not in an active fighting energy. We don't have to agree, but it gives us our power to respond, right? To be responsible from a place of power and that responding energy rather than the reactive fight energy that we have when our shields and defenses are up and we're refusing to see or accept reality as it is. So this is a step even more deeply into our divine self-sovereignty, right? To be the creator, you have to be able to see and feel and know things as they are and hold them as they are so that you can then change what you want to change through your beingness. This is all an initiation into that deeper level of emotional maturity, right? To be able to see and hold and witness and to be able to hold that acceptance so that we can respond, so that we can be the visionaries, so that we can hold that perspective of things as they are and take the agency and the responsibility back to us to be the change that we want to be, right? This emotional maturity allows others to have their journey. It allows others to have their experience and it holds space for them, and it doesn't try to keep people from having their experience or tell them they're wrong for having their experiences, but rather allows them to experience what they need to experience so that they can come into their evolution and their own emotional maturity as well. Imagine for a moment what this world would look like if there were all of these people who could see things for as they were, who could zoom out to the higher perspective, who could accept people for where they are at right now and hold space for them to have their own journey into emotional maturity while being the example of what that looks like, instead of trying to exert force over them, rather being the change that they want to see so people have an example to look at. The wildness of March is offering us exactly the heat and the pressure and the squeeze that we require to step into this next level of growth and evolution for ourselves and for all of humanity. So when coal is squeezed so tightly by that heat and that pressure, it turns into diamond. We're in that right now. We are being trained by all of these challenges to become the badasses that we are, okay? We will get through all of this together. And in a few years, we'll be able to look back and go, wow, I have learned and grown so much. There might be some of the past that is going to come up for you to witness and hold space for yourself, accept what it was, have the perspective of you now, and come into the responsibility of what was and what you can do with that now. You're going to be asked to witness yourself and hold that for you as well as for the world. So I wish you so much love and so much grace and compassion on your journey in March. Remember to do what you need to for you to be able to hold this space. If you focus too much on the outer world, you will lose sight of yourself. If you focus only on yourself, you will not be able to hold space for the world, and it's about balance. March is coming up to the equinox energy as well. That's on that 20th to 22nd window. The equinox is the time of balance. It is the balance of light on this planet. And so we are going to be asked to hold that balance internally so that we can express it in the world as well. I love you. I am so excited for all of us to be through this and on the other side of it. And I also just want to honor you for being here on the journey. Now, if you feel like you are being called to deeper levels of being a teacher, a way shower, a facilitator, a coach, a guide, there is time to still join me for my Creation Coach certification program. inside the Radiant Evolution Academy, where I train beautiful conscious creators to be able to hold space for these epic transformations that are physical and tangible, but held in sacredness for people to move through their journey with that space being held. So I teach people how to coach, how to hold workshops and programs that are deeply connected to the sacred elements of this planet and to Mother Earth herself, so that people can have embodied experiences and we bring through the wisdom of the divine, of the elements, of nature herself, so that we can create and manifest in harmony with her and in connection to the all that is. And we use so many beautiful embodied tools that are oftentimes missing: breath, movement, meditation, sound, writing, light language, dance, all of these tools to help people be in their body and have transformational experiences. And this is what I know I am here to bring the world. And I am looking for the leaders who are wanting to hold this kind of energy for other people with me. So you can check out the link for the certification journey below. And this is going to be connecting us in together to the earth at a deeper level, so that we can be the stewards of the change that is happening right now, for the elevation of consciousness and the embodiment of all of this truth and wisdom that is bubbling up to the surface. So I am seeing very vividly the images of people, like the earth is basically being panned for gold right now, and all of the rocks and all of the dirt are being shaken about, and we are going to be left with just the gold, but we're in the process of being shaken right now. So have heart. I'm sending you my love. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and please be gentle with yourself as we move through this March 2022 energy.